I could fucking stay here till 5 a.m.
Bro.
listening to this, bro. Because show me another guy rapping this incredibly, bro. Show it to me.
That was one of our first reactions to J. Cole's new album, The Fall Off. If you guys want to check out the full live album reaction, click the link in the pinned comment and subscribe for more J. Cole videos just like this. Baloo, 10 plus years in the making. You and I first started the YouTube channel with the entire team, and we were covering this album, bro, since the inception of the channel. There was so much hype going into this new live album reaction. So how do you feel, bro? First listen's done. Everything is on the table now. You know what the album sounds like. He was teasing this as his best. People were saying that this was going to be album of the decade, including you and I.
Yeah.
How do you feel, bro?
I want to say this. I'm happy that it's finally out, bro. And I like that it feels like a fitting close to the chapter for J. Cole and the journey that he's been on. And I think more than anything, what you have to take out of this album is that this is a love letter to hip-hop, first and foremost. It's a love letter to Fayetteville, his hometown. And, you know, this first disc is really what's winning me over here. I think that there's two different approaches, disc 1 and disc 2. You see J. Cole definitely getting more melodic on the second half of this album. And I think that those are definitely where his weaknesses come out the most, are on those singing cuts. But that being said, it's a mixed feeling for me. I feel like you're getting some of the highest highs of his career. Songs like What If, where he's rapping from the perspectives of Biggie and Tupac and kind of going into, you know, how could that situation have played out differently if they came to terms and, you know, reached a level of peace and understanding within each other, and kind of comparing that to the whole Drake and Kendrick situation in his own way. So I think that what's really winning me over here is just the passion from Cole and also the songwriting, bro. But what about you? Between disc 1 and disc 2, what did you prefer?
I think there's a clear quality difference in disc 1 to disc 2, at least from like a Cole's fan's perspective, right? Because I'm someone that loves tracks like a Sideline Story or of A Tale of Two Cities or a GOMD, where you're going into these raps and you're just mesmerized by the skill and you fall in love with his catalog for those reasons. But once you get into disc 2, there's a lot of these melodic cuts. For me personally, where I'm listening to the auto-tune crooning and I'm listening to the singing, I'm like, I'm not sure if this was needed off of the studio album. But on a more positive note, once you get into like disc 1, the start of the album, which is the album that he made apparently from the perspective of his 29-year-old self after making 2014, him going back to North Carolina, him going back to his hometown and giving you all of the anecdotes that come with that. I think that was so well accomplished, bro.
That is where he shines. Like songs like Safety, where you're getting him rapping from the perspective of an old friend from his hometown who's kind of filling him in on the updates of, like, you know, who's passed away, how is the city changed, kind of reaching out to him, wanting his support, and Cole having to grapple with the idea of like, yo, he's a changed man right now. Like, he can't go back to the Ville and go to the same places that he used to. Like, it'll never feel the same. And I feel like that's one of the aspects of the narrative that I appreciated, is Cole being real about how, you know, he's over the whole J. Cole moniker and wants to tap back into, you know, his former self, like Jermaine himself, like the guy that he lost.
Yeah, and I think there's a struggle in finding that for himself, at least off of first listen, right? So just a disclaimer. This is first listen. We're going to have to go back through the lyrics.
Oh, yeah, guys, full review coming soon.
Full review is going to be coming on Monday, so subscribe if you have not already. But even something like Run a Train, for example, once you get into the first verse, him talking about moving on God's timing and how that's what's really excelled him, not only as an MC, but as a man in this world, and how, you know, he's viewing different things in his life with a positive, but also sort of like a critical view. I think there's a lot of forks in the road in this album for J. Cole narratively, where he loves the fame. He's accomplished what he's accomplished. He's become a rap superstar, and that's everything he's dreamt of as a child. But now, once he's finally attained it, there's this bittersweet moment in his life where he doesn't know how to interpret it. And it's like, well, do I have survivor's guilt, or do I really relish in everything that I've accomplished up to this point? And personally, as someone that's maybe claimed that this is going to be album of the decade and this is going to be Cole's best album. Off of first listen, I could confirm to you that, like, for me personally, as a fan, I don't think it's Cole's best album to date.
It's not.
But I will say this, bro, when you're coming into a studio album and a double disc track list and there's over 24 different songs and you're able to take 16 to 17 songs that might be some of the highest highs that you've seen in his career, bro, like, I'm happy as a listener, dude.
100%.
There's so much to take out of this track.
And there's tracks where he's rapping his ass off, bro. Looking at Poor Thang, looking at Who the Fuck Is You with that Mobb Deep sample, looking at a song like Drum and Bass as well. Bro, bullets travel straight through the skin like gamma rays in the wind. My greatest of wins came when I annotated my gems. The shit I write so fire, I got my hand afraid of my pen. Amazing quotables, and I think that it was really dope to see Cole's passion for hip-hop reignited throughout this track list. A lot of bangers. I'm happy that we got The Alchemist on a song like Bunts Road Blues. Let's talk about the features. Very limited feature list here, which I was happy about. He was super selective with it. I did want the JIT feature. I'm not going to lie to you. More than wanting a JIT feature itself, I wanted J. Cole to spar with another rapper. Like, he's been rapping his ass off. He's been doing a lot of features. Like, the art of collaboration and going back and forth with top-tier spitters has been a common trend leading into the fall-off, and I feel like we kind of missed out on that on this album. But that being said, on a positive note, looking what Future and Thames did on Bunts Road Blues, that was special, bro. You're getting really soulful singing from Future. Thames sounding angelic as always, playing into the narrative of the song itself. That was really special for me. What about you? Any standout features, bro?
Well, it's obviously going to Future and Thames on this because realistically, you have Future, Thames, then there's P.D. Pablo on Old Dog, and then after that, Burna Boy on Only You. When it comes down to the Burna Boy feature, by the way, I agree with you on the Thames and Future features. Incredible.
Absolutely.
Like standout features for me. Burna Boy.
Yeah, it didn't fit. It didn't fit the track list.
I could go without it, to be honest with you. That's a song that I would probably cut off of the track list. And then after that, I believe P.D. Pablo only has, I believe it's the refrain, bro, on this track itself. So most of the runtime on this album is going to be spent on Cole. And that's something that you and I had conversations about in previous episodes where we said to ourselves, does he take the 2014 and the For Your Eyes Only route or the KOD route where maybe there's no features? There was only a couple. So it almost felt like you got a track list of 24 songs where there was realistically like nothing going on in the feature list, right?
And you know what? Speaking to that, I feel like when Cole's at his best on this album, he doesn't need another fucking living soul on the track list, bro. Like, he's able to carry out a lot of these songs himself and keep us entertained throughout. That being said, you're bringing in artists like Thames, like Burna Boy for some of these melodic sung sections. I feel like you should have done that for some other tracks, for some other hooks that do suffer in quality. Looking at, for example, a song like Legacy, that's a track where, again, for a chorus, you could have had maybe an Ari Lennox or a talented vocalist come in and, you know, add some relief. Because that is, again, Cole's biggest weakness. It's been a weakness on previous albums, but I feel like he leans more into the melodic side on this track list more than any others. And maybe that's because it's double-sided and he wanted to show some diversity in the performance.
But speaking to a song like Legacy, for example, I agree with you here because if you would have gotten, let's say, an Ari Lennox or, I don't know, a Cleo Soul, I'll drop names here, to be able to come in and fill up some of these choruses, bro, you go to that second verse, the writing is immaculate, right? And there's no problems there, and the beat itself is really sick, and I really enjoy it. But going on to other tracks off of this album, bro, like, I think personally, it would have been interesting for him to just attack disc 1 as its own album, bro. And then after that, all of the quality and the rapping performances that you would have gotten off of disc 2, example, and The Whole World is DeVille, which I really like the verses. I'm a bit iffy on the hook, but going into the verses, those are quality verses from Cole. I think that he could have probably crafted a more concise track list without having to attack the double album. So how do you feel like he attacked the double album off of first listen, and are you satisfied with what you got tonight from a double album perspective?
I'm satisfied with the album, even though I am disappointed generally, right? Like, I was expecting this to be his masterpiece. I was hyping it up to be his best album because that's what Cole led us to believe, right? Like, he proclaimed that it would be his best album, and I don't think that it stacks up to a 2014 or a For Your Eyes Only. But that being said, as a double album, I think that first disc is really cohesive. I think it tells a beautiful story about him trying to reconnect with his hometown and not being able, again, to exist in Fayetteville the way that he once did and the struggles that come with that. But this too, obviously a lot more like love themes, but it just felt more scattered. And I miss the connection between disc 1 and disc 2. Maybe I'll catch it upon more listens. That being said, there are major highlights still in that disc too. Like, I Love Her Again is a beautiful song where he's kind of making a spiritual successor to I Used to Love Her by Common, speaking about, you know, the metaphor of his love for hip hop and everything that goes into it. From him struggling with the changes, the trends within hip hop, and him trying to find purpose in it and accepting that no one's reign lasts forever. And I feel like that's a big theme with the fall off, is that your spot on top could only last so long. And I feel like Cole has done everything that he can to stay competitive for a decade plus. And this is his send off, bro. And for what it stood for, it was nice.
And also going into this album, it feels like he's also at peace in disc 2, obviously speaking about the love of his life and speaking about how he's happy to be a family man and how he's fallen in love with all of the nuances of life that a regular person would dive into. But speaking on your point of him kind of feeling like, I'm not sure if I could keep up with the trends. I'm not sure if I could keep up with all of these new sounds that are coming out. That's an honest perspective that I honestly, I appreciate from my favorite rapper, right? Someone that's able to say, hey, listen, like, I don't know if I could be competitive in this game anymore. And that's what I feel like is being said from J. Cole, especially throughout the entire messaging of this album, because in so many songs he references how the trends and all this new music is kind of jading him and how he doesn't know how to attack it in a certain way. And I think you maybe see that in the fall off, where certain songs on this too maybe feel a certain certain hit attempts, or he's trying to get too melodic with the crooning, and I don't even know if these songs are gonna hit for him, bro, as far as the charts go. So how do you feel about like that whole narrative? Yeah,
there's no hits on this album, and that's fine. I didn't go into this album expecting chart-topping hits. I didn't feel like that was the purpose to begin with. So that was a prediction that we had speaking before the album even came out, that like this is going to be a super deep personal album.
But hold on, we said that there was going to be 1 or 2 hits off of this album.
Maybe we said 1 or 2. Right now, I don't see any off of first listen. That being said, I wish that he stuck more to his strong suits, which you'll find on this album on tracks like Quick Stop, where the storytelling is fresh, it's authentic, it's well detailed, the imagery is fucking mind-blowing. But I think that, again, this album's biggest downfall is the bloat in the track list, the singing performances from Cole himself, the miscues in curation, some of the weaker hooks. But ultimately, I'm still happy with this as a send-off, bro. I think that more than anything, it's a celebration of his career, and he sounds fulfilled. But that being said, I wish that rapping ability that he showcased on that Blizzard 26, I wish that was more prevalent here. And I feel like you got it on some songs, don't get me wrong, like the Who the Fuck Is You, the Poor Thangs, but it wasn't present throughout the track list, and maybe that wasn't the intent. I just feel like from a narrative standpoint, from a rapping standpoint, a production standpoint, we've gotten better from Cole throughout the catalog.
I agree. I will say this, though. I think where he really strives is when he becomes a hip-hop fan again.
Yeah.
And when he's trying to attack these song concepts. Like, so, for example, look at a Safety where it almost feels like a stan.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, right? You're getting the perspective of one of J. Cole's friends from the Ville, someone that's keeping him up to date with all the events that are going on in North Carolina and all the things that he missed. And I found that to be such a beautiful song concept because It plays into his career. It plays into similar song concepts that he maybe attacked in the past, but it puts it in this new, fresh format that was attacked by other rappers like Eminem, for example. And then going on to the song like I Love Her Again, that was one of the tracks that was previewed in the second trailer that we got from Cole right before the album drop, and you have him paying homage to Common, right? So I think he strives best when he's like not paying homage, but he's paying respects to, like, let's say his fellow peers that came before him, and he's playing into that art form. He's playing into like, okay, I have to be a student of the game at this point in time. I will say this though, the track list is bloated.
It's bloated. I think that like the biggest like standout thought that I have is like it's a mixed bag in the sense of like even a song like Bombs in the Ville / Hit the Gas. The first half is melodic and it's pretty weak. The lyrics are kind of empty, but you get into that second half and he's rapping his fucking ass off,
that
bro.
flow that he hits is gross, bro.
It's absolutely insane as a second half. So that's kind of how I feel. I feel split on this as an album. Obviously, expectations weren't met, but there's still a lot of beauty, a lot of greatness from Cole, especially coming in this stage of his career, bro. He's already accomplished so much. To hear a certain level of hunger from him and desire to make his best album, even if he didn't accomplish that, in my opinion, I'm happy with this, bro. And we'll see what the verdict becomes with the review. I think that it's premature to really give a final verdict on the album just yet, but I'm excited.
Songs on here.
It's a lot to digest.
It's a lot to digest, right?
So
like the live album reaction was 2.5 hours. We just went through a 2.5 hour listening. So I will say this off of my first listen. The fact that I'm keeping like 15 to 16 tracks off of this, and as a J. Cole fan, I have a lot to dive into, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like the nerd in me, the fandom in me, I'm so happy to go back into this. But as someone that was maybe led to believe that this was going to be better than a 2014, I could honestly say as a J. Cole fan, I don't believe that that's the case. But did that even need to be the case at this point in time, bro? We'll see what happens. I'll leave that question up to you guys. So if you guys want to keep up with all of our J. Cole content, so much more coming, bro. We have so much shit on the horizon. So hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to keep up with all of our uploads. We appreciate you guys. The fall off is inevitable, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.